So we have Deacon Brodie's Cavern here at the corner of the Royal Mile and Bank Street, or George IV Bridge if you prefer. When I was preparing for my ghost tour video, some people talked about Deacon Brodie, but the stories were sort of scattered about where he supposedly haunted, etc., etc. But while I was doing my research, I decided he deserves his own video. Basically, he inspired Robert Louis Stevenson to write Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, according to most people. That's a general belief. He was born September 28th, 1741, and he became the Deacon of the Guild of Wrights and Masons. He was also a city councilor. So William Brodie was his actual name, but people called him Deacon Brodie because that was the position he held on the guild. And he lived here at Deacon's House, well, Brodie's Close, and they've got the Deacon's House Cafe down there. And here he is. And so, as a cabinet maker, etc., he had access to keys because he knew a little about locksmithing, and so people would have him copy keys for him and build them. And so eventually he just started, let's start robbing people because I can make an extra key and I can rob them. And so he actually got keys to a bank. I couldn't find out which bank, and he stole 800 pounds from it, which isn't a lot in today's money. But back in the 1700s, 1768 is when he did this, they would have been worth 172,546 pounds and 48 pence in modern money. So you could live for quite a while off that, except for the fact that he had a family to take care of. He also had two mistresses. He had 5 children by these 2 mistresses. And to his credit, he took care of them. He didn't just abandon his illegitimate children. He also had a gambling problem, so his money didn't last as long. Oh yeah, I also did a calculation for dollars. Modern day dollars, that would have been $232,937.75 in American money. So I could retire off that. He couldn't because he had mistresses and a gambling problem. Okay, so after he started robbing people, Deacon Brodie soon formed a gang. 1786, he recruited John Brown, who was a thief. Yeah, he was actually on the run from the law already. George Smith from Berkshire. He was a locksmith, and he ran a grocery stall on Cowgate. And Andrew Ainsley, who was a shoemaker. Now, March 5th, 1788, or 1786, let me double check my date on that. 1788, they decided to rob the excise office at Chesil's Court here. Don't know exactly where the excise office was, but this is the court. They had their duplicate key, dressed in their thieves' clothes, took some pistols with them, broke in. So the excise office closed at 6. They went in after 6. The night guard wasn't supposed to get there till 10, and he didn't. However, a man named, one of the people who worked here, James Bondar, he forgot something, so he returned to the offices, found someone had broken in, raised the alarm, they all ran. Brodie went to one of his mistresses, Jean Watt, who lived in Liberton, for an alibi. Ran home, changed his clothes so he wasn't dressed like a thief. and the others, went back to their places. So here I am in Hollywood Park. There's Arthur's Seat. I have not been to the top yet. So when they failed to rob the excise office and they ran, of course, the call went out. And so what happened was John Brown decided to turn King's evidence against Smith and Ainsley. He did not mention Deacon Brodie because, I don't know, possibly accusing a member of the town council would not go over well or not be believable. I don't know. Doesn't say why. But for proof, he took them out here. So along the west side of the park, I am standing on what is called Salisbury Crags. And somewhere along here, and it stretches for a few hundred yards at least, they dug up the pass keys that had been used in past burglaries. And so that was his proof that, yes, I know what's going on and my evidence is good. So somewhere around here, there are some just basically loose stones or whatever covering pass keys. I think there might have been some other stuff they used in some of the burglaries, but that is what was happening here. So this heart here marks where the gate to the toll booth prison used to be. This is where we eventually wind up, but how do we get there? So, when they escaped from the excise office, they only got 16 pounds, which in modern day would be, let's see, I got this calculated somewhere. Modern day would be about 3,450, not bad, but not good either. And American dollars would be $4,657.50. So it didn't get as much as they hoped to get. Now, like I said, Brown had already turned state's evidence, or King's evidence, against Ainsley and Smith. No. And so he didn't turn against Brodie, but Brodie went to the prison to visit them, and so he drew suspicion to himself. They searched his home, even though they found he fled to Amsterdam first. Caught a boat to Leith and fled to Amsterdam. Bribed the captain to go to Amsterdam instead of going to Leith. And so they eventually caught him and brought him back. They searched his home. They found the guns and they found his clothes, but they were still not considered evidence because those weren't actually used in the crime and no one actually witnessed him in them. So they had no evidence against him. However, Ainsley turned state witness against him. And so now we have two witnesses saying he did it. And, Brown eventually turned on him. So, Brodie and Smith were brought to the Toll House prison, which used to be here. And then on October 6th, 1788, I believe it is, they were taken out to be executed around to Mercat Cross, which is just on the other side of the cathedral here. Trying to dodge people using their cameras.
I've been telling my friend.
Excuse me? Okay. So yeah, executions were generally done at Mercat Cross for some reason, which is right by the cathedral. Lovely place to do them. And so, like I said, they were on October 1st, 1788. Smith and Brodie were both brought here to be hung. And the cross would be where this monument here is. And so again, some people claim they've seen Deacon Brodie's ghost in this area. Others say they claim they've seen it around his home. Neither one is really believable. I mean, a lot of sites talk about them being claimed, but there are no really, you have to be pretty desperate to rely on it.